What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Quid Spell Sports, and today we have another Bracketology episode. Now, before we start this, I want to explain the playing games. Liberty and East Tennessee State. The reason I have them here is because of a problematic issue for the bubble teams. If you are a fan of a bubble team, you're not going to like this news. But Furman is currently winning the the Southern Conference, with like Wofford and UNC Greensboro and East Tennessee State. I have Furman as a 12 seed. And then North Florida is currently winning the Atlantic Sun Conference, where Liberty's in. Let's say Furman and North Florida both go on to win their conferences. They are in. I still think that Liberty and East Tennessee State have a good enough record to where they would still be playing teams. Remember last year when Murray State and Ja Morant won the Ohio Valley and Belmont still got in? I think we can see that for two conferences this year. So if you're a fan of an Arkansas, let's go to the first four out. My first four out is Arkansas, Florida, Cincinnati, and Stanford. If you're a fan of those teams, not great news for you. But that's beyond the point. Here is the first round matchups on side one. I'll go slowly so you can take a look at those. Let's go to the other side. I'll go up slowly so you can take a look at those. All right. You guys have been here long enough. You guys know the drill. Let's get into round one of picks. Baylor and the winner of Norfolk State and Prairie View A&M will take Baylor. BYU and Xavier. I'm going to take BYU. They are lights out from three-point range, and they cracked the rankings today. I think they're 23. But yeah, I'm going to take Marquette over Akron, or as my friend likes to call them, Akron. I'll take Seton Hall over Yale. I'll take Iowa over the winner of Utah State, Wichita State, which I think would probably be Utah State. I'll take Auburn over Arkansas Little Rock. I'm taking Northern Iowa over I'll take Northern Iowa over USC, although Northern Iowa did suffer a tough overtime loss to Loyola Chicago. Northern Iowa is another team where, let's say Loyola wins the Missouri Valley. Would they still get in the tournament? I don't know. It would be a tough debate. But Northern Iowa is still currently leading the conference. I have them as a 10 seed. I think they beat USC, who I haven't seen really much of. Maryland and South Dakota State will take Maryland. Gonzaga and the winner of Robert Morris and Siena, which I think would be Siena, will take Gonzaga. I'm going to take Texas Tech and their star defensive prowess and Chris Beard. They're very well coached. I'll take them over Indiana. I'm taking New Mexico State over Oregon. They always win the WAC. There's no good teams in the WAC besides, like, Chicago State is terrible, UT Rio Grande Valley, Cal State Bakersfield. Trying to remember some teams in that conference. They're not very good, but New Mexico State always comes into the tournament with rolling momentum. And I'm not too high on Oregon or any Pac-12 team for that matter. So we're going to take New Mexico State. Louisville and Hofstra. Louisville suffered two terrible losses this year. They laid a complete egg this week. They lost to Clemson and Georgia Tech. The egg of all eggs to lay. They dropped for me from a 1 seed I had them at to a 4 seed. I'm still going to take them, though. I'm going to take Michigan State over Richmond. I'm a Michigan State fan. Went 1-1 this week. That was tough. But you know what? I think Michigan State's still going to be a good team. They have a tough road ahead of them. They have to play at Maryland, at Penn State. I think they play Ohio State at home, and I think Iowa at home. I can't quite remember. I think they'll beat Richmond, though. Creighton, I'll take over Colgate. They have impressed me. They're one of the better teams in the Big East. I'm going to take Rhode Island over Michigan. I think Michigan is highly overrated. I'm definitely not saying that because I'm a Michigan State fan. But Rhode Island is a strong team out of the Atlantic 10. They're like 19 or 20-6. They're very good. They don't lose to subpar teams, and they've done it in the tournament before. I'm going to take Rhode Island, and we're going to take Florida State over UC Irvine. Let's scroll over to the other side. We'll take San Diego State over North Florida. We'll take Virginia over Illinois. Virginia is very well. I don't know why they're 17-7, and yet people have them as like an 11 seed. I have them as an 8 seed. I think Virginia's still very good, and people are sleeping on them. I'm going to take Furman over Butler. Butler's been so inconsistent this year. They either go on a huge win streak, or it's like you don't even know why they're losing. I'm going to take Furman over them. Furman's been quietly going under the radar very well. I'll take Villanova over Vermont. I like Liberty and East Tennessee State. I think they're both very good. They win a lot. Great records. They're going to come into this tournament with rolling momentum. Let's say I actually think both these teams will turn it around and end up winning their conference. But if Furman and North Florida have something to say about it, I still think both these teams will come in with rolling momentum. I think whoever wins would beat Houston. Penn State has been playing very well as of late. We'll take them over Murray State. I'm going to take Arizona State over Ohio State. Dayton over Montana. I'll take Kansas over North Colorado. Rutgers over Oklahoma. I'm going to take Stephen F. Austin over Colorado. Stephen F. Austin beat Duke earlier this year, and they are rolling with momentum. I think they're like 24-3 or something. Under the radar, playing very well. And Colorado has not really impressed me. They had that one good win over Dayton, but I still really don't see much from Colorado. We'll take Kentucky over Wright State. Kentucky is also very underrated. They're like 20-5. They cracked the top 10, though, so maybe they're not. We'll take Arizona over Mississippi State. I'll take West Virginia over North Texas. I'll take LSU over St. Mary's, and I'll take Duke over Winthrop. Let's move on to taking Baylor over BYU. Seton Hall over Marquette in a Big East matchup. I really like Miles Powell, Quincy McKnight. We'll take Auburn and everyone over Iowa, and we'll take Maryland over Northern Iowa. Maryland's looking very good with Jalen Smith and that I forgot the other guy's name, but he hit a dagger against Michigan State. I'll take Gonzaga over Texas Tech. I'll take Louisville over New Mexico State. I thought about taking Texas Tech for their defensive prowess. I'm taking Michigan State over Creighton. This is such a biased pick, but I really think if Michigan State can turn it around come tournament time, they could be that preseason number one team everyone's thought of. It's just the only thing holding Michigan State back is just they need a third scorer to just emerge. The only two players averaging double figures are Cassius Winston, Xavier Tillman. If one player could be Rocket Watts, it could be Kyle Arns for all I care. It could be Thomas Kithier. It could be Aaron Henry. Anyone, just anyone needs to emerge, and I'd really like to see it be Rocket Watts. He showed a huge flash against Illinois. I'll take Florida State over Rhode Island. God, if Michigan State could just have one person emerge as like an elite scorer, then they'd be in business. I'll tell you what. I'm taking Virginia over San Diego State because I don't know if y'all remember when Wichita State was undefeated. They hadn't lost. They ran into Kentucky, a very well-coached team that was sort of like an 8 seed, but they were still a great team. I could see that exact same matchup happening here with Virginia. That's why I'm taking Virginia to beat San Diego State. Trust me, I want to be high on San Diego State. They're our only undefeated team left, but I don't see it happening. I gotta take Villanova over Furman. Furman beat Villanova 1 year ago, I think. I'm gonna take Penn State over the winner of Liberty East, Tennessee State. It's like Dayton over Arizona State. Really like Obi Toppin and company. It's like Kansas over Oklahoma. I'm taking Stephen F. Austin over Kentucky. You have to ride some double-digit seed, and honestly, of all the double-digit seeds in the bracket, it was gonna be Northern Iowa for me. But honestly, they didn't look great against Loyola Chicago. I think Stephen F. Austin is looking very, very good. They beat Duke earlier this season. We know they can do it, and I think they'll show up in tournament time. They've shown up at the tournament before. I'm taking them. I'm taking Arizona over West Virginia. I don't know. I just see Nico Mannion just shredding that defense apart. Bob Huggins is a great coach, though, and I'll take Duke over LSU. Let's stay on this side of the bracket and go to the Elite Eight. I'm taking Duke over Arizona, and I'm taking Kansas over. I wanted to take Stephen F. Austin so bad, but we'll take Kansas in that one. I'm taking Penn State to beat Dayton. And the reason is Dayton kind of struggled with UMass. I mean, they won, but they didn't look great doing so. Penn State, they play complete team basketball. Everyone gets involved. They score. They shoot the three. They're deadly. From what I've seen, they're the only team they're the only Big Ten team this year to, I think, beat Purdue at Mackey. They beat Michigan State at the Breslin Center. They are on absolute fumes right now. Penn State is on fire. I honestly think they're going to end up winning the Big Ten, if you ask me. Really like the way they're playing. I think they'll beat Dayton. I'll take Villanova to beat Virginia. Let's go on over to the other. Hold on. I got to cover up the Final Four, if you're wondering. I'm taking Seton Hall to beat Baylor because I think Quincy McKnight and Miles Powell are two legit players, and Baylor plays as a complete team. I know, they're really great. Jared Butler's an awesome player. you can never pick the number 1 overall seed. The last time the number 1 overall seed won was 2013 with Louisville, and technically that didn't count, so you got to go to 2012 when it was Kentucky who was the number 1 overall seed. I think Seton Hall's been a great team. If they can get ready for the tournament, I honestly think that Seton Hall's going to win the Big East. I think they're going to come in with momentum and steamroll through Baylor. And I'm going to take Maryland over Auburn. That was a tough one for me, but I do think that they'll end up getting that win. I'm going to take Gonzaga over Louisville. And I'm so biased. I didn't really have that many low seeds, and I got to ride one team. Why not make it my Michigan State Spartans? That's so biased. Honestly, Creighton would probably beat Michigan State, but if Rocket Watts would just show up, other than one game, we'd be fine. I'm taking Michigan State right there. All right, Seton Hall, Maryland. These two teams actually played each other earlier in the season. Seton Hall came out on top. And you know what? New location, new tournament environment, same result. I think Seton Hall is a great under-the-radar team. They really have the potential to make the Final Four. I really like the way they play. I'm taking them right there. And Gonzaga, Michigan State, I rode Michigan State way too far. It's time to actually go with some reason and take Gonzaga. Villanova, Penn State. Jay Wright and the coaching experience of Villanova is good there. But I don't know. This Penn State team has really, really impressed me. What were they ranked? Like 20 to start the year. They have far exceeded everyone's expectations. I'm going to take Penn State in that one. And then our last one is Kansas and Duke. Now, both these teams played earlier in the year. Kansas ended up losing. But Kansas had something like 20 turnovers in that game. They have really cleaned up their issues. They've been steamrolling through teams in the Big 12 after they lost to Baylor, but they will get a revenge game against Baylor this Saturday in Waco, Texas. I actually expect Kansas to come out with a win in that game. They had those turnover problems good up, plus they're going to have what's that guy's name? DeSosa, the guy that picked up the chair against Kansas State. He'll be back by the time this game ends. Kansas is a much different team than they were at the start of the season, and I'm going to take them to beat Duke. And now our Final Four, Penn State, Kansas, first matchup. Actually, no, we'll go to the other side first. Seton Hall, Gonzaga, first matchup. Now, Gonzaga had a game against St. Mary's, at St. Mary's. Probably the next best team in the West Coast. I don't know. BYU's really good. I can't wait until Gonzaga plays at BYU. That'll be a really good game. I actually think BYU might win that. But Gonzaga has just been so great throughout the West Coast Conference games. I really think that they're just going to be coming into this tournament on absolute fumes. That's why I'm going to take Gonzaga to beat Seton Hall. I think Seton Hall's magical run eventually comes to an end. Okay, Kansas is under this little aluminum piece I have. Or how about we just do this? Penn State, Kansas. Now, this is where I think tournament experience is going to eventually go up to Penn State. I think they make it this far, but it's just their tournament experience isn't great for me. I think I'm going to take Kansas. Bill Self has been here before. I'm pretty sure he has a national championship. Yeah, he has to have a national championship. I can't quite remember what year. And then Kansas and Gonzaga, I'm telling you what, Kansas is just looking like an absolute juggernaut right now. They're blowing teams out with just efficiency. They're currently up 10 on Iowa State at halftime. I'm actually watching this game as I'm making this video, but I just think Kansas has been looking like the best team. I actually think they're going to get revenge on Baylor and Waco, Texas, and they will soon be. They would climb to what would they be? They'd be 2, and then Gonzaga would be the new number 1 team. I don't know. I really like Kansas in the way they've been playing. Plus, they're going to get that DeSosa guy back. I mean, Azubuike, Dotson, Garrett, they can all score efficiently. They don't have like one guy that they have to go to constantly like Michigan State. Oh, Dotson. Oh, shoot. Oh, Dotson just, stole it. Well, I got to take Kansas to win the national championship. Let me know your guys' Final Four in the comments below. And, yeah, I will see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone. I really think Kansas is going to get that win against Baylor.